This is just a brief demo on what I've been playing around with as far as lighting with the layout is concerned. Basically what you're looking at there is halogen downlights underneath the pelmet with fluorescent tubes as well. The advantage of both of those is the fluorescents give you a lovely fill of light. The halogens, however, give you a really pleasing spotlight daylight effect. It's better to show the shadows than it would be if you were just straight fluorescence. As you can see, I'll just turn off the fluorescence. You'll get an idea of how much they hotspot. It's not an unpleasing effect. However, if you are looking at the models, those not in direct light do tend to be a little bit dull. The pleasing combination of both fluorescence and downlights is that you get to sharpen up the shadows in the places that you really would like to accentuate. It also has a pleasing three-dimensional effect. Now, if you look at that scene there, the area at the front of the baseboard to the back scene underneath the bridge is barely 2 feet, if you're lucky. The downlights in their placement do tend to push that back scene way back into the hills, which is obviously the desired effect. Over by the door, which is there, it is less than a foot between the front and the back scene. The practical upshot of which is you get a lovely three-dimensional effect. Full daylight with the fluorescent tubes is again very pleasing, and you can watch trains whiz backwards and forwards there and really enjoy it. I haven't actually had any formal training in any way, shape or form with this kind of thing. However, in my teenage years I did spend quite a bit of time working with or being part of the local drama league, and I was basically responsible for set designing and lighting and staging, not in any commercial capacity in any way, shape or form, and I was complete novice. What it did for me, however, was really make me appreciate with theatre the ability for theatre to suspend people's disbelief. In other words, they know they're in a theatre, but they believe they're in a forest. It's the same with the layout. For a few brief seconds, your brain is telling you you are not in a room, you're actually outside. And that is one of the fun parts of theatre. I've always enjoyed that aspect. Basically building a set, putting it on stage, and then the lighting guy flicks the switch and wow. So it's that kind of thing that I'm trying to follow here. So as well as the fluorescent tubes and the halogens, I have put in some really cheap, and I'd have to emphasize that, cheap strip lights, LED strip lights, which are from China. Now I'm sure you can get them online for next to nothing, but I will just demonstrate what the advantage of that is. Now we've just turned those on. So with the LED strip lights over the halogens, it pays to point out that with the fluorescent tubes on as well, they virtually have no effect. But with just the halogens, you have the advantage of being able to throw a blue cast. It's simply changing the general temperature of the scene. It's possibly a little bit purple, although this camera does pick it up as a far stronger in colour than my eye is picking it up. If we throw it to green, again, barely discernible, but it changes the weather mood, I suppose you could say, of the scene. And then we've got red and then yellow. So you can warm up, cool down, or change the effect of the general scene. Now, as well as that, and this is the cool bit, if we turn those halogens off, and I'll just try and do that now, so you just have to bear with me while I walk from one end of the train room to the other, flick a few switches. What we've got now is a really cold, dismal, you've got to be kidding me, I'm not going out in that sort of weather situation. So we've changed to white, we can go to blue, make it a night scene. Now that is quite blue, but these LED strips have the advantage of being able to be dimmed. So if we can dim that right down, now it will strobe a bit as, oh gosh, just went to the wrong color. It will strobe a bit as we get down to the lower levels. Now the camera's picking up that strobing, but my eye is not. To me that's just a lovely, almost midnight, full moon night. The advantage of that is we can see with this little tea light that I've put in, it's an LED light in the hut there. It has a really pleasing effect of a nice fire. Sort of thing that if you were coming out of the hills on a cold night, that would be something that would really warm your heart. So the advantage of that is you have the ability to light your buildings and have them look really cool. Not just rely on their lights to light the scene, which I think is the really cool bit. So I will show you in a few seconds just exactly what's involved in those LEDs, but they are for, I think I paid about 34 New Zealand dollars for 15 meters, which is ridiculously stupid cheap. But you can see from there, that's just the white LEDs only, and it has quite a pleasing dusk-like finish. So I can just swing underneath there and show you what those LEDs are like. Self-adhesive strip just popped in underneath there. We've got a sensor down here, which is worked off a little remote that you can change all the colors and the combos. Honestly, you could get it to look like a disco if you wanted to. Not that I'd recommend it. Underneath there you can also see the halogen downlights, and underneath that baffle, because they were ridiculously bright on this side, LED fluorescents, but they're really just light bars. And over here, sorry about the fast swing, we've got standard fluorescent tubes, which I think I would tend to favour just as far as the overall effect. So that's basically it. We'll send some videos up on various subjects that I'm working with as I think of them and do them. I'm probably more interested in just putting up some of the ideas that I've got rather than doing demos as per se, or rather tutorials. Although we'll see how it goes. This is all very new to me and I'm something of a technophobe. So I apologise for the quality of the video, but it just gives you an idea of some of my thoughts and ideas, and hopefully they'll be of some use. So stay safe, keep calm, enjoy.